bit loose, so he perhaps can't rush with moves. Rook E1, great suggestion, great call there by Fabi, just centralizing the rook, defending, threatening rook E8. And he plays king to H7. So sidestepping any checks for now.
Yeah, very logical. I thought also queen d3 was maybe a decent move. But perhaps black has, just a very solid position after king h7, followed by queen d3. You want to get that bishop off d2 so that you can take c3. White can enter an endgame. I know I said endgames are bad, but I think in this case, like queen e4, trade, and then put the rook on one of those squares, and white actually controls the a-pawn very, very comfortably. And is certainly, but it's probably a draw. I mean, I maybe slightly prefer white, but it's almost certainly a draw there.
And we were looking at rook e8 check, but it's no longer check. So do not play this move. We saw ideas with bishop takes g3. Now it would really work. So you need your rook on the first rank. Do not lift that rook and blunder bishop takes g3. That would not be the way you would want to end this world championship, because reminder to everybody, this is the fourth and final game of the first tiebreaker. 4 games are rapid. So if somebody wins right now, the match is over. We will have a new world champion. So the players, they're trying to keep the equality. They do not want to lose now. Neither player wants to lose ever. But if this game is a draw, we will head on over to blitz tiebreaks.
We're heading to blitz tiebreaks. I don't see Ding losing this one. It looks like he has a pretty stable position. And Jan could make any number of moves here. You could play king g2, for example. I mean, like, you have a wide choice. It's not a position where things are happening super fast, but he might head for the endgame too. I would really consider queen e4 here, with the knowledge that it's almost certainly a very drawish endgame, but still. The a5 pawn could be a strength, could be a weakness. It's hard to tell. And white's king is a bit closer to getting to the center, potentially getting to some very influential squares like d3 and so on. But Jan is considering.
Jan perhaps just senses that he knows he's up on the clock. And if he can find a way to keep the queens on the board, try to create some ideas, he's definitely going to try and push. It is the final rapid game, but I think a draw, as you said, is the most likely result, because just simply the position that Ding has, a potential attack on f2, but potential sacrifices on g3, enough counterplay. So shouldn't be that hard for Ding to hold. Guys, it looks like we will be heading to a blitz playoff, but there's still time for that. Jan Nepomniachtchi now with a 3-minute advantage on the clock. Abby, you were mentioning a queen trade, and that goes into a level balanced endgame. But with the a-passer, he decides to keep the queens on the board, makes the move bishop to e3. So he's threatening the c5 pawn. And potentially, if black was to take on c3, we might even see a perpetual check on the board.
Yeah, I think this move is almost a draw for. Queen takes c3, let's say queen e4 check, king to g8. Rook to c1 at some moment white can play, but black has queen b4. Or queen e5, I mean. Yeah, it's very, very likely that we see a lot of trades. Even if white gets 3 against 2, it's still a draw. Bishop d5, maybe it's like super precise to play bishop e5.
But, you're going to take it on c3, just says, no, I'll take it later. That makes sense to me. All the trades that happen are going to be good for black in terms of you'll never lose. And maybe if you trade the queens and this pawn survives, black could even be better.
Yeah, I like this move. It's saying I want to make it draw when I'm a little bit better. Queen takes c5, queen c5, bishop c5, bishop c3. For sure, it's a drawn position. But if given a choice, you would probably take black, because black still has the passed a-pawn, and yeah, white just has a 3 against 2, which is not enough to win even on its own.
Whoa.
Queen to e8. Okay, so bishop to f6 looks... Because bishop c3, rook c1, a little bit scary there. A bunch of hanging pieces and pins and stuff that... I see a lot of tactics like rook f3, rook c3. You know, you could easily lose this one.
Oh, I'm going to show that real quick. Queen takes and queen e4 check is Fabi's idea. Check to the king, check to the rook. You are going to lose material, and black is in trouble. So, still tactics left, and that's what Jan is doing. He is playing for the clock right now. He knows the position should be balanced, but the black king is less safe than the white king.
So black can play bishop f6 here. Very logical. One option. Or I think bishop c3, rook c1, rook f6. I didn't see the exact refutation. Because bishop d2, there's a lot of like queen d4 ideas.
He goes for bishop c3. Is Ding playing with fire? I see the eval bar still approves of it. Rook c1, but now he has to be super careful with just 2.5 minutes on the clock.
No, I think he saw that like bishop d2 can be met by queen d4. And white probably can't afford that. So that might actually... Maybe it's a perpetual check there. Does black have more? Or is it just a draw? bishop d2, queen d4, bishop c3, queen f2, king h1, queen f3, king h2. I think, yeah, chess is a draw.
Sometimes when people are playing super accurately, that happens to be the case. But if not for bishop d2, which allows a draw, could we see a possibility that Jan gets in a worse position? He did just give a pawn. There is this outside passer, the rook on f6, queen on c4, very active pieces. So Jan's about to grab his queen. He has queen d7. So it looks like he's trying to win this game, but he could be almost trying to lose to some extent.
Yeah, he's messing around a little bit. It's actually a very interesting move because you don't allow black's queen and bishop to get free. Oh, but queen e2, you actually do. He probably didn't see that one.
It's a brilliant move. And actually, that means it's the only move that allowed black to survive this game. I wasn't looking in that direction. The bishop is now under attack, but he defends it tactically. That was a really nice find. So Tanya, queen e2 played. Ding now down under 2.5 minutes. A brilliancy, but he's in some time trouble. Extra pawn. Whose chances do you like right now?
This is anyone's game. It's so hard to pick simply because of Ding's clock situation. Queen e2, a really nice tactical find, getting out of that pin because of the check that you just mentioned. And at any point that black wants to bail out in this game, you can just go bishop d4. Trade off those dark squad bishop and you're absolutely safe in those positions because you'll always have pressure on the f2 pawn. So Ding Liren has got this safe exit idea and maybe he can start thinking about looking for more. Now Jan is down, well, 2 pawns on the queen side. One pawn on the board, and that a pawn is definitely one to watch out for. It can start marching down the board, but first Jan needs to come up with a move. And there isn't a direct tactic. You just keep everything centralized. You just simply move your queen or queen d5, king g2, and just say, show me the money.
Yeah, I think queen d5 is the right move because I think crucially, after bishop d1, you have some kind of queen takes c5 ideas to defend everything. As bishop e1 becomes a threat, you maybe also just have queen e4, but I'm not sure if white. But yeah, queen c5 is super safe there, so we could just see bishop d4 here. A bit of a draw for there for sure. If black decides to go for that.
Safest, right? Bishop e1,
Yeah.
your pieces are getting a little bit loose after queen takes c5, so if you don't want to risk anything, and at this point, Ding probably doesn't have much in the way of winning chances, so play bishop d4, trade the bishops. Now the attack is gone before it's parried, before it could even get going. So I think bishop d4 would be the right choice, and it looks like we are heading to a draw. So for the over 235,000 of you watching across the different platforms, we are likely to see a draw in this game, heading to blitz tiebreaks for the World Championship title.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't get super ambitious here. I mean, maybe he was feeling like queen e2 he's already better, but after queen e5, I think if you don't play bishop d4, you're going to be risking potentially, especially with 1 minute on your clock. So hey, he's going for it. Bishop to b4. He got ambitious.
Do you have the option of just giving a perpetual now? Can you exit out with queen e4 and queen e8?
Yeah, I guess white is not really risking, right? I mean, also, I guess bishop c5 is. Oh wait, bishop c5, bishop e1. Okay, that's actually no, that would be really dangerous for white. So let's not do that.
But that's a brilliant point, that bishop takes c5, bishop e1. You filled the square. That's a different type of tactic, but the c5 square is filled by the bishop because the queen wanted to be there. If the bishop had gone to e1 right away, queen takes c5 would have been played. So that's really nasty trap set up by Ding Liren here.
Yeah, so maybe queen e4 is the right response. King to g8. You can go back queen d5. I mean, it looks like a draw, yeah.
But Jan hasn't been making the draw, so
It's
now
the
he
first
does.
check.
I think it would have been very dangerous, Tanya, if he had not decided on queen e4.
It was time. It was time for Jan to go for this idea. And now, of course, is the big question. Will he repeat with either queen e8 or queen d5, or at least offer a repetition for Ding? I don't see a way for black to hide. You can go back with your rook to f8 in case there's a check on e8, but then you will also have a check on e6. Jan simply goes queen d5, so not even allowing that option. Guys, we're going to see a draw here. This will be a perpetual. You've got blitz coming up. That's what's going to happen. This match is absolutely insane. And Fabi, you were the one to call it out first, that we will have a blitz playoff.
Yeah, yep. Draw. That's what this rapid playoff has been. It's been super close, and 4 draws. These players they weren't even like huge chances, right? They exchanged some slightly better, slightly worse positions, maybe even clearly better in a game or two, but more or less all the games are balanced. I don't think we had a single position where it was even close to objectively winning. And this last game, I think, was quite excellently played overall. I mean, maybe some inaccuracies in the middle game, but it was super, super complex. So that's to be expected. And overall, just like really, really balanced. I mean, imbalanced, but also balanced in terms of the evaluation game. And Jan is considering, but it looks like he's going for it. Queen e4. Ding has nothing really to think about here. He shouldn't be avoiding the repetition. There's no reason to.
Both players down on the clock, playing on their last minutes. We are expecting a repetition at this point with Ding falling back with the king to g8. Rook g6 is not a move that you consider here, right? It's the only move that I feel with black keeps the game going, but it looks like more like a losing move than a winning attempt.
If rook g6 is not better for white, I'd be shocked. But it's not definitely. Oh my god.
Oh!
Whoa!
What?
Is he playing for a win? Is Ding Liren trying to win this game? Because this is a big moment. The bishop on e3 is pinned. The queens are looking at each other through that bishop. So if you can't take on c5, black is up a pawn. And Ding Liren, I keep using this Hemingway expression. You know, he said, courage is grace under pressure. He's courageous. And queen f5 gives black the upper hand, apparently.
Yeah, is he just pushing? But wait, why would white black be better here? You push with c4, yeah? That's... Actually, c4 is...
On the board, white's got to go h4,
Wait.
h5, right? That's the plan. But black stops it with h5.
Or queen g4 as well. You can try to trade queens. You are up 2 queenside passers, and we keep talking about blitz. This is about to be a blitz game where Jan Nepomniachtchi, he's currently up almost a minute, but he is down a pawn, and those are some scary pawns to be down.
I'm in absolute shock that Ding actually decided to continue the game with just a minute on the clock. He's refused a repetition going into blitz.
Yeah, this is a pretty wild decision. Maybe it actually looks like a brilliant decision, but probably because this queen f5 was a mistake. And maybe he just missed c4. He thought he's picking up that pawn, but he's not picking up that pawn. So what's he do? Bishop to d4? I just want to stop c3. I really,
there's queen
really
d3
want to
there.
stop. Queen d3, yeah? Yeah, queen d3.
Oh my gosh. This is a position where Jan might have only one move to survive. I see the eval bar saying 0.3, but that is completely misleading everybody. There are 2 separate pass pawns. Most importantly, there's advanced c-pawn, and you want to rush your pawn to h5. You do not get that. The queen steps to g4 after pawn to h4, offering a queen trade, and then the pawn goes up to c3. Fabi, Tanya, this is worrisome territory for Jan Nepomniachtchi, who's dipping to just about a minute, and that was a mistake.
Oh, queen d3. Not even queen g4, queen d3. That's the best way. Yeah, that's really, really bad for white.
Oh my goodness.
The c3 is happening.
That move, rook g6, Fabi, we were thinking that's not even a possibility. And such a brave decision, and it's paying off. Ding Liren, with that eval bar, it shows that he's clearly better here. But practically, Fabi, how easy is this with a minute on the clock? And Jan there keeps the queens on the board, which is absolutely crucial for any play with white. He has to get h5 in. Rook d1 coming
Black is
in.
just pushing. Well, like, what does the h5 matter? Because you don't give checks on that diagonal anymore. Like, okay. c3
Rook f6.
doesn't seem to change a huge amount.
Yeah, what are you doing here as white? Because the queen on d3 is so well positioned, and he goes rook d1. He wants to chase the queen off the diagonal. I think that's a good choice. But can't that queen just slide back to f5?
And then queen c4. He has to engineer some sort of rook d8, rook d5, like something with activity.
Oh, but I like this because if queen c4, there's rook c6 now. The queen and rook along the 6th rank helps to push the pawn.
That's a good move. So wait, does the queen have to go to e2? But that's not what you want to do, because then rook c6 anyway, with the threat of c2, bishop to a3. And he's also has no time.
Wow.
So yeah, this is very, very close.
Oh my goodness, we're stunned into silence.
Maybe you need to play queen e2 quickly and just pray. I mean, obviously your position is bad, but at least keep some time on the clock.
He's down to 35 seconds. Ding's the one with the time advantage, Fabi.
Yeah, well, white has to keep some time on the clock, just in case it turns into a mess at some point. Wait, now rook c6? What is even the idea?
Is he going to try to sacrifice a piece and go for an attack against this king? That should not pan out, but maybe this king is going to try to hide on h2. And in a scramble, if it gets into real time trouble for black, when you're under attack, that's when mistakes happen.
Yeah, maybe a good practical shot. I mean, for sure, this p-sack is his idea. It doesn't work. Like, all these things are definitely true, but he wants to avoid it. So we're now rook to c1 at least. Or wait, can you trade? Maybe you could trade.
Oh, and it's given a question mark. You could trade and then try to get your queen back to e4 at some point. Try to make a
You
draw.
just try to like hold it move by move. Yeah, queen e4, queen c4, and it's not an immediate draw, but you're saying black cannot easily progress because the
And he finds it.
yeah, queen e4, queen g6, queen c4. Good try.
And not only
c2.
a good practical try. Sorry, Fabi, but look at the eval bar. It says minus 1.4. Is it nearly minus 4? So Jan may be fighting back in this game just when it looked like Ding Liren would be crowned world champion.
Well, it's very difficult to advance that pawn because c2 is allowing h5 ideas. And if not c2, then maybe you play h5 with black here. Maybe you really need to get those light squares under control. Okay, you can give it a check. It probably doesn't change a whole lot.
Does he want to start
Well,
pushing
it
the
didn't
A
achieve
pawn?
anything. Pushing the a pawn, maybe. But then bishop to somewhere bishop d4 will get some counterplay. Maybe king goes to h2, not to allow queen e4 check, although probably doesn't change much.
Oh my goodness, king h2 is played. And look at the eval
Right.
bar. It's going near level. This could be dangerous for Ding. If he's all in for the win, he could find himself under pressure with his g7 pawn targeted by the bishop on d4 as well.
Yeah, I mean, like bishop d4, c2, maybe you lose because of queen to f7.
Yes.
Something like that, obviously, you would never want to allow. But generally speaking, black does not risk here. But bishop d4, the point of the king on h2, queen e4 was not checked because queen takes b4, wins a piece.
17 seconds. He
Bishop
makes a move.
d4, and that was correct one. Wait, a3 and... Oh, is he going back queen f7, queen b3? Or is it queen f7, queen c4?
Yeah, queen g6 is available. I think that's what you were indicating. The pawn is protected. He goes queen c7, which is a mistake. A huge mistake in time trial from Jan Nepomniachtchi. The queen has to go back to g6. That's the good news for Ding Liren. He has only one move here, and Jan is the one down to 20 seconds and counting down.
Wait, bishop c3? Oh, just a2 and queen b1 then. There's no checks. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I think this is over.
Oh my god.
Oh my
He has to go
gosh.
queen c4 back. It's the only move.
Will he find it? The only way to keep the game going is queen back to c4, going after the bishop. He plays just that. So a good find.
It's c2 now. Yeah, this is
Oh my gosh.
so close to disaster.
But he's holding on right now.
Oh, is bishop c5? Oh no, it's not. I was trying to get too clever.
Bishop d6, this h4 pawn may be hanging in some positions. He goes king g2, which keeps it at -3. So that's obviously an advantage for black. But maybe it's time, Fabi, for your h5 move, just because you don't want this king to be checked left and right, non-stop. So maybe h5 helps that king?
Just to stop white, because white is threatening h5 now. White has a threat of h5. h5, queen f5, g4, and the queen has to lose contact with the c2 pawn. h5 might not be an easy decision because you feel like if my queen ever gets active, then white will target that h-pawn. Definitely a difficult decision, but it might be the right move. If he plays h5, white will play queen to d5.
h5, queen d5, then... Oh, I was going to say a2, but you can just take my pawn.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
that works, because queen e4, take this bishop.
Oh yeah, he can actually play a2 immediately.
Although you have to be very careful here. Let's see. King f1. Oh, I don't think the king belongs to the first rank. That means a pawn might promote with check at some point.
Wait, now king e2, queen g4, so you can't move your king. Oof. But he was avoiding this a2, queen e4, queen e3 because he saw that option. He was avoiding it with king f1. Oh, wait, now bishop to b2 is coming. This is just game over. I mean, there's no more hope here. The bishop on b2, white doesn't even have counterplay.
Wow.
He's going for just desperation. But h5, queen f5, yeah, this is... Desperation is not working out. Ding is going to win this match.
Unbelievable. The resilience from Ding Liren. He brings his queen up. Now it's on f5. There's a pass pawn c2 that's defended. You can't distract the queen anymore. Ding Liren, who is down a point in this match, is he about to become our world champion?
Black can do anything here. I mean, he doesn't have to panic, but he can play a2. Queen d3 probably wins. g3 probably wins, yeah. And now a2. a2 is super winning. Not even hope is left
We're
after
just
a2.
seconds away from Ding becoming the world champion. If he just plays the next few accurate moves, it's all over.
Just
This
one
is-
move, a2, and it's over.
And it's on the board.
Oh my goodness. And Jan
Look at Jan
Nepomniachtchi, he sits
Nepomniachtchi.
up in his chair, but he knows this might be the last few moves of his world championship.
Oh my god. Stop it.
Oh, you see it.
And
He
he gives
knows.
up. He knows it.
Yeah, bishop takes f4 is easy.
Heartbreaking. It's over. Ding Liren is the world chess champion. Wow. He has made history as the first Chinese player to win the world championship. We see handshakes that Ding is overtaken by emotions. He isn't able to leave the board. And for Jan Nepomniachtchi, a heartbreaking moment there. He leaves the hall. This has been a fight of courage, of grit and determination. And all of that has paid off for Ding Liren. Take a moment and admire Ding right now. What a match this has been, and a deserving victory for Ding Liren. He is the 2023 world champion.
He shouldn't even have been here, right? To get to the candidates, someone had to be removed. He then entered the frame by playing 30 games in a month. Then he goes to the candidates. He gets second place. Magnus Carlsen has to step aside, has to abdicate the throne, and then he gets into this match. We see the final score, 2.5, 1F in tiebreaks, but he was trailing in the match until game 12. I cannot believe it, but Ding Liren, a deserving world champion.
Yeah, he got so justly rewarded by playing rook to g6. Not many people would have played rook g6 there. I think that's really the critical moment in the game. I mean, there's only one move that we have to talk about when we talk about this last game victory, and it almost feels unfair that Jan, when it was such an equal match, he just doesn't have any chances at the end. I'm sure he feels like I was so close and just like one move away from winning this match. But Ding, rook g6, it's a brilliant move, brilliant courage to play that move.
And he played that with just 1 minute and 23 seconds on the clock. Ding Liren has not won a game with black against Jan Nepomniachtchi, and he does it in the most important moment of his life. Rook g6 was truly a moment of bravery and courage, and it really did. He really did get rewarded with this, playing it on 1 minute when he had the repetition, when he had the option to get into blitz. This was amazing, fantastic chess that we saw. I'm still getting over what we've just witnessed, the turnaround. And Robert, as you pointed out, for the majority of this match, Ding was the one who was trailing until game 12.
Yeah, he was trailing, right? He lost game 2 with the white pieces. And when that happened, everyone's looking at this match like, what's going on here? Is Ding Liren going to be able to handle the pressure both on and off the board? And then he was able to bounce back by winning game 4. Then he lost game 5. Then he won game 6. Then he lost game 7 in just tragic fashion where he couldn't move. He was stuck in the mud. And then in game 8, he almost wins, but he doesn't take a rook when he can. And then finally in game 12, when he was losing, he was in bad shape, he was able to fight back, and you saw the emotion. I mean, this move, rook g6, I think that is a move that, you look at the eval bar to the side of the screen here, it says zeros. What did it say before rook g6? It says zeros. So easy to gloss over a game and say the eval bar didn't change, but this is why we play the game. This is why Ding Liren is the world champion. He makes this move, rook g6, and Fabi, what a move it was, because white was not in time to put pressure on the pin piece, and black has an extra pawn.
Yeah, when you think about the position before, you think rook g6 is crazy to pin my rook. When you start to calculate what white might have here, and we see that probably white is equalizing, maybe in more than one way, but all of white's equalization attempts, like rook to c2, I see that they don't actually like trouble black. Like black always has a safety net of bringing the queen back, queen d1, followed by queen d6, followed by queen c6. And so Ding absolutely correctly saw that he's not really taking a huge risk with this whole rook g6 idea, and then it was just a brilliant decision. I mean, queen to f5 was the first mistake in the wrong direction. I think he just missed c4. Probably Jan didn't believe move rook g6, or he thought h4 is coming, and he missed this move, queen to d3. Maybe even queen g4 was also good, but queen d3 is the best move. And somehow Jan still had some really good drawing chances at some moment later on, but it was a time scramble. And very often these time scrambles, if you get like one drawing chance, you don't seize it because it's just one drawing chance out of like 20 moves. It's too difficult to spot exactly when your chance is. It was after he found like this bishop d4, and it was quite miraculous that white was getting counterplay, but he had to find one last move probably to make a draw in this position. And maybe the move was h5, I'm starting to think. If you want to stop queen g6, and the queen can't leave without dropping the b4, the bishop on b4. Of course, black is not risking here, although it's not easy to find a move either. So,
Bobby, could you imagine someone playing this move with like 20 seconds on their clock, h5, when they're two separate passed pawns? You can hardly blame Jan Nepomniachtchi once the bishop's on d4 for playing queen c7. He's threatening checkmate in one move, and with the queen coming to g6, if the queen were on f7, well, that would have offered a queen trade. So I can't blame him for missing it. No time left. But I think it's earlier in the game where if there's a decision he would like to take back, forcing the draw when he had a chance. He didn't do it, and rook g6 was that courageous choice by Ding Liren, but Jan, he's going to be kicking himself for not forcing the draw.
Yeah, he definitely had a lot of moments where he had complete safety and he was still feeling ambitious. What can you say? He had these last second decisions. I mean, they can sometimes come back to haunt you. It's not even like we can criticize that you play on, because okay, it's Jan played on and it was courageous, and Ding played on and it was courageous, but one of those was rewarded. It's sometimes you take a courageous decision and it gets punished, as it was in this game. He probably thought he's operating in a position without much risk earlier on in the game. Then again, if he had played h5 at the moment and it had been some other result, we would have, said, yeah, sure, it's just another game. But it turned out to be such a pivotal game. I mean, this game decided the world champion, and that's also what happens when you let it get down to the last game, right? Like, it's a 4-game match, and tied, anything can happen after. That's why sometimes you want an accident to happen earlier, right? Like you lose the first game, then you have plenty of opportunities to get back. Jan, unfortunately for him, has no opportunity to get back because this is the final game. And that's why I said, like, maybe it feels unfair to him, because sometimes you want, like, I want that extra chance. I still want to fight in this match, but it's all over.
Tanya, I mean, we're giving Rook G6 a lot of credit, but this Queen E2 find, double exclam, I mean, that was also brilliant by Ding Liren, getting out of the pin, and because the bishop can't be captured, Queen E1 check. So many good decisions by Ding when he was the one down on the clock.
All around excellent play there by Ding Liren, but it definitely comes down to that courageous decision of going Rook G6, declining a repetition, forcing a blitz playoff. We expected it, Jan perhaps expected it for that repetition, and was completely thrown off by the move Rook G6. And we saw Ding on seconds, under a minute, play one good move after the other, and that's exactly what you need to become world champion. And finally, in game 4, Ding does take the crown, 2.5 to 1.5. We saw 3 fighting draws. We saw 14 intense classical games, and finally, it was the 4th rapid game that crowns Ding Liren as the world champion. But also, one has to feel for his competitor, Jan Nepomniachtchi. This was moments ago, a moment that will etch itself in chess history. Ding Liren overcome by emotion, the winning moment from the 2023 World Championship. And what a journey it's been for Ding Liren with his struggles to make it to the candidates. He finished second at the candidates. Magnus Carlsen decides not to defend his title. That gives Ding Liren the opportunity to fight for his ultimate dream. And he found himself on this very board and then trailing the match for the most part. And finally, it was in game 4, a rapid day which saw the best in Ding. And now his name is forever amongst the greatest of the greats in the chess world. Ding Liren alongside Magnus Carlsen, alongside Viswanathan Anand and Vladimir Kramnik. Fabi, is this the biggest moment for a chess player?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that